Chapter 91 One Step to the Sky. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What if we offered you the number 7 jersey? Ferguson, not ready to give up, dropped a bombshell. Manchester United's number 7 isn't just any number, it's been worn by football legends, George Best, Cantona, Beckham, Ronaldo, and even Owen. Giving Ye Chen the number 7 would be a clear promise, he'd be the team's future cornerstone. Ferguson was pulling out all the stops. Mendes was taken aback. You need to seriously rethink this. Mendes said, at Manchester United, the number 7 stands for greatness, leadership, and being the face of the franchise. Greatness is its history, leadership means he'd be key to United's strategy, and being the face is being the man at Manchester United. What's Manchester United? They're England's top team. In other words, joining Manchester United could make Ye Chen a global superstar. This was a golden ticket to the top. Even the usually unflappable Mendes couldn't hide his excitement. David Gill looked at Ferguson, surprised. Ferguson just smiled kindly at Ye Chen. Ye Chen went silent. He started watching football as a kid because of Beckham. The heartthrob's influence in China was massive. Later, he fell in love with the game itself. Now, he had the chance to wear the same Manchester United number 7 jersey that Beckham wore. It was incredibly tempting. Ye Chen took a deep breath. I'm sorry, I'm sticking to my word about not going to the Premier League for 3 years. He stood and gave a slight bow. Sir Ferguson, get some rest. I won't keep you. He turned and left before Ferguson could reply. Truthfully, he was tempted, but he knew Manchester United wasn't the right move for him right now. Dortmund was the perfect place to develop. They might not be the strongest, maybe even second tier in Europe, but they were on the upswing. He could grow with them. They'd even be forgiving of the occasional slip-up. Manchester United was different. There, you could only succeed. Even the smallest mistake would be blown way out of proportion. Just think of poor Maguire, getting bomb threats after a couple of bad games. The scary thing is, English football hooligans really would do something like that. Ye Chen felt he was too young, and his game wasn't polished enough to thrive in the Premier League. He planned to go there someday, but not yet. Of course, if he stayed much longer, he might crack, so he chose to ignore the pressure. Mendes caught up to him after saying goodbye to Ferguson. Do you have any idea how many people would kill for the opportunity you just turned down? Mendes said, clearly impressed. So, what do you think? I think you're brilliant. Mendes grinned. This only confirms my gut feeling. You're going to surpass Messi and Ronaldo and become the best player in the world. Wisdom was highly valued, it was even more important than talent. And he was also showing that he thought Ye Chen made the right call. Is that why you like me so much? Ye Chen asked with a smirk. Honestly, I wasn't so sure at first, but now I'm a believer. Why's that? Mendes smiled. When a guy can walk away from Manchester United's offer, keep his head, and stay true to his plan, I know he won't get distracted by all the temptations that come with fame. But plenty of people are already calling me a lovesick fool for falling hard at 17, saying I'm wasting my talent on a girl. Mendes laughed. People aren't animals, and we're not just wired for sex. Players aren't monks. We need love and support. And your situation is unique. You need someone who cares about you, who's there for you, to keep you focused on football. Ye Chen was surprised. It was no wonder Mendes was such a powerhouse. His insight was off the charts. Why was Ye Chen so into Lena? Start with looks. She was stunning, like a fairy who lit up the room, perfect features, a bright and bubbly personality, like an elf. And she was loyal. She didn't hesitate to follow Ye Chen and support him when he was far from home. It took guts to move to a strange country alone. Their love was a two-way street. Ye Chen wasn't looking to play the field. He didn't want to promise every girl the world. And he didn't want to use booze to numb himself at bars, or use it as an excuse to hook up with random girls. Science has proved that drinking alcohol does not cause promiscuous sex. What usually happens is self-indulgence. He was content with one true love. Exactly. Let's talk again soon. Ye Chen smiled. But I need to get home. Lena's waiting for me. Go on. Mendez beamed. He was riding high. He saw a bright future in Ye Chen. The competition in the business world was fierce, and even Mendez had to hustle, especially after Ronaldo's move. When he left Real Madrid in a short period of time, he must find a new face of the brand. Ye Chen was a gift from the gods. He planned to build the best team around Ye Chen and set up a special China office just for him. On the way home, Ye Chen pulled out his phone and checked the top sports sites. He was everywhere. 5 hat tricks, capped off with a 5-goal game, made Ye Chen the hottest new star in the Bundesliga. And don't forget, Dortmund was hyping him up too. After all, Ye Chen was their player, and they were proud to have him breaking records. Mainly, the player who made the record was crazy talented. He was only 17. Ye Chen was the name on everyone's lips in the Bundesliga, and the whole European soccer world was buzzing. The BBC's headline was short and sweet: 5 straight hat tricks, Dortmund's monster star Ye Chen sets Guinness World Record. The photo of Ye Chen in front of a massive fan banner dominated the page, along with a shot of him with the Guinness World Record staff. French football, in-depth look at Ye's rise, the perfect transformation from Manchester United reject to Dortmund superstar. Team Daily, the next Ronaldo. Chinese newcomer scores 17 goals in 5 games. Sets Guinness World Record. Kicker, new Bundesliga star shocks the world, detailed review of Ye's Guinness World Record. The record was truly insane for the soccer world. And the 4 most respected sports newspapers in Europe were more than happy to hype it up. Then there's The Sun. Their headline: shock. 17-year-old Chinese boy Ye Chen sets world record. His girlfriend is. At the Hilton, David Gill looked at Ferguson, concerned. Old man, what do we do now? We fly back to Manchester tomorrow morning, Ferguson said calmly, then chuckled. How can you laugh at a time like this? The kid's got to be crazy. What a waste of a chance. David Gill said, frustrated. Ferguson shook his head. He's not crazy, he's smart. Dortmund is a better fit for him right now than Manchester United. What? Now, tell our head scout to keep an eye on Ye. The second he hints at leaving Dortmund, let me know. A talent like that can only belong to Manchester United, or else. Ferguson's eyes went dark. Or else what? Or else you will become Manchester United's worst nightmare. Ferguson said, taking a breath. A mind like that at such a young age meant he had no limit. Of course, Ferguson had no idea what the next few years would bring. Back then, Manchester United would probably be lucky even to have a shot at Marvin Ye. Chapter 92: Ye Chen's terrorist influence in China. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was almost midnight when Ye Chen got home. The TV was still on, tuned to a sports channel, but Lena was asleep on the couch. On the coffee table in front of the sofa were a bottle of red wine, 2 glasses, and plates covered with lids. A delicate candle sat in the center. Lena must have set all this up after getting home early. Ye Chen tiptoed inside and closed the door quietly, but it still clicked shut. Lena slowly opened her eyes. She hadn't fallen into a deep sleep yet. You're back, she said, smiling brightly. Did I wake you up? Ye Chen asked apologetically. You must be exhausted today. It's all your fault. I wouldn't have had to scream so much if you hadn't scored so many goals. Lena playfully pouted. My bad. I'll try to score less next time. No way. I'm happy when you score more. Lena blurted out, her face turning red. Go wash your hands. I made you a steak. You said you could have a little beef tonight. Ye Chen smiled and nodded. Okay, I'll go wash up. We can have a little celebration. Yay, not because of his strict diet. Ye Chen usually didn't eat anything the team nutritionist didn't approve of. He'd talked to the nutritionist earlier today, which was how the steak meal came about. No alcohol, of course. He had training tomorrow and the next day. 3 days from now, they were heading to Stuttgart in southwestern Germany for their game. Stuttgart was fifth in the league after 10 games, riding a 3-game unbeaten streak. They were in good form. Last season, Dortmund had a win and a draw against Stuttgart, so they knew it would be a tough match. Plus, it was another Asian player showdown. Stuttgart star striker was Shinji Okazaki from Japan. Ye Chen had just broken a record set by Masashi Nakayama, and Japanese fans were devastated. Now they were pinning their hopes on Shinji Okazaki, and countless fans had flooded his social media with messages. Ye Chen didn't know all that, but he was a little envious. After playing in the Bundesliga for a while, you notice how many Japanese and South Korean players there are. Dortmund's core player, Shinji Kagawa, for example. Or Hamburg's Son Heung-min, who's a starter, and Shinji Okazaki. These guys had made a name for themselves in the Bundesliga, while the last Chinese player to try his luck here, Hao Junmin, barely even made the bench. It made you wonder when the gap between them had become so wide. While Ye Chen was washing his hands, Lena lit the candles and poured the red wine. When she picked up the plate, she realized the steak was cold. Seeing Ye Chen come back, she said quickly, "Wait, let me heat up the steak." "It's fine, just eat it," Ye Chen said, picking up the steak and taking a bite. "And you have training tomorrow." Lena looked at him expectantly. "How is it? Did I make it okay?" That it was the first time she'd ever cooked a steak, and she was anxious. When she was making it, she even woke up her mom for advice. "Sweet, right?" "Not as good as you," Ye Chen said with a wink. Lena's face turned even redder. "Humph. I'm not talking to you." Ye Chen laughed and took another bite. Okay, just kidding. It's a little bland, maybe some black pepper sauce next time. But I like it. Thanks. Really? I'll make it for you again. Lena said, surprised and happy. Okay, but no drinking for you tonight. We're playing Stuttgart in 3 days. I need to recover. Lena nodded immediately. I know. I'll sleep in the guest room tonight. I want to try cuddling with you. Lena frowned. Are you sure you can resist? Wanna find out? Ye Chen grinned. Honestly, if he didn't have a game against Stuttgart in 3 days, he would definitely have put on a show. Let her belt out a few tunes. It was past 5 in the morning in China, but who could sleep? Fans were chatting non-stop in the Dortmund forums. The hottest topic wasn't what do the girls who like Ye Chen look like, but sign in if you witnessed Ye Chen break the record. In just half an hour, the thread was over 1,000 replies long. And fans who had promised to buy jerseys were posting their order confirmations. The Dortmund jerseys on the official website were sold out. They were all Ye Chen's, of course. Nobody wanted the other players' jerseys, and this batch had just been printed. Dortmund knew the spending power of Chinese fans. The previous batch of 3,000 jerseys had sold out in 2 days, so they prepared over 10,000 this time. That's over $6 million right there, but it still wasn't enough. Puma's official website responded immediately, opening up pre-orders. The 10,000 jerseys they put up sold out in under 15 minutes. Puma had to issue a statement saying pre-orders wouldn't ship for at least 2 weeks. Countless fans replied, saying they were willing to wait, so Puma put another 20,000 jerseys up for pre-order, selling over 15,000 overnight. Over 50,000 numbered jerseys sold in one night. Keep in mind those jerseys were expensive, at least $500, and $600 with a Champions League patch. After breaking the record, Ye Chen's jersey sales hit a staggering $3 million. Even after returns, sales would be over $2 million. Puma was raking it in. The crazy jersey pre-sales in China got the attention of Puma headquarters, who held an emergency meeting. At midnight, foreign workers were working overtime for Ye Chen. Same world, same grind. But Weibo was the real party. Ye Chen's previous post had gone viral. Ye Chen is God Ye now. The GOAT. Ye Chen, born September 16, 1994, broke the Guinness World Record for scoring 17 goals in 5 hat-trick games at 17 years and 71 days old. Ye Chen broke Masashi Nakayama's 1998 Guinness World Record of scoring 16 goals in 4 hat-tricks. Ye Chen crushed the old record in both games and goals. He is the Ye God. Like this post if you witnessed Ye Chen's 5-goal game and 5 straight hat tricks, that where there's praise, there's criticism, it's a fact of life. Don't overhype him. Dresden is just a Bundesliga team. Even Evergrande could beat them. Put Gao Linsman in and he'd score 5. Just because he's playing in the German league now he's suddenly a world-class superstar. You guys need to chill. Shut up, everyone. Didn't the Football Association ban him? He's bad news. There's no hope for Chinese soccer with him. How is he good? Surprised the Football Association dogs showed up, brothers flame me. The Red Army isn't afraid of the expedition, how is it so hard for the national soccer team to qualify? The Chinese national team's feet are too smelly, they're better off going home and selling potatoes. Ye Chen's post had become a battleground, and the old grudges between him and the national team were being rehashed. The controversy got so bad the general administration talked to Liang Jijun, the chairman of the Football Association. Wait a minute. The chairman's name is Liang Jijun, and the U17 coach's name is Liang Kailai. Is this nepotism all over again? Chapter 93 The 5 million termination fee is too low. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Some people are happy, while others are naturally sad. Unlike the festive Chinese New Year vibe of Chinese fans, the Sakura Kingdom fans were in total meltdown. When Ye Chen scored his hat trick, they tried to find some comfort. Okay, Ye Chen might have 5 hat tricks in a row, but that's only 15 goals. Their own Zhongshan Yasi scored a whole 16. So, even if Ye Chen broke the world record, they could still cling to that. This coping mechanism even went viral on their forums, for like, 20 minutes. Then Ye Chen scored again. Once Ye Chen also hit 16 goals, that argument kinda dried up. Of course, some fans still argued that Ye Chen needed that many games to score that many goals. Their legend, Masashi Zhongshan, did it in way fewer games. Therefore, their guy was clearly better. That is until Ye Chen scored his 5th goal, cutting inside again. Silence. A website packed with Sakura Country fans went completely quiet. What now? They were fresh out of ways to feel good about themselves. Then, a new post appeared. Is it really that hard to admit someone else is good? That was a game changer. Tons of Sakura Country fans had a sudden realization. Yeah, Ye Chen is amazing. Why are we trying to tear him down? Shouldn't we be proud that someone of Asian descent can be this powerful? Exactly. It proves that we can be just as good. If our players work hard, we can have geniuses like that here in Sakura Country. We should tell our players to learn from Ye. Whoa, what a shift. Or maybe not. People in Sakura Country have always admired strength. They even wrote a book called Ethnic Improvement to encourage Sakura Country women to, shall we say, partner with white men to improve their bloodline. That's what's scary about them. They'll go to any lengths to get stronger. But that's also why they've developed so fast. Look at Sakura Country cars, a global phenomenon. They took the technology from the US and ran with it. While some were blown away by Ye Chen's skill, others weren't convinced. Hold up, it's too early to crown Ye. Don't forget, our Okazaki Shinji is going up against him. True, but Ye just played in the German Cup, so he probably won't start in the league, right? The bottom line is, Ye hasn't even locked down a starting spot on his own team. Let's not start worshipping him so fast. You guys were just saying it's unfair to compare positions, so let's not bring up Kagawa. Ye probably isn't even as good as Okazaki. Remember, Okazaki is Stuttgart's starting striker. But Ye Chen is leading the scoring charts. Gotta be specific, he's tied for first. Did you forget about Huntelaar? Huntelaar. The debate raged well into the early hours. Ye Chen looked at Lena, who was curled up in his arms like a kitten, and sighed. If he'd had any willpower last night, he wouldn't be a man. But Lena was awesome about it and let Ye Chen get some rest. He got out of bed, did the bare minimum to get ready, grabbed his training bag, and headed for Dortmund's training ground, but when he opened the door, there was a sweet Volvo SUV. Before Ye Chen could even process it, Mendes hopped out. "Ye, good morning," Mendes said, grinning. Ye Chen grinned back. "Morning. What brings you here?" "Watzke called me last night and wants to finalize your contract extension," Mendes replied, still smiling. Truth be told, he'd been playing the waiting game, letting Dortmund come to him. In negotiations, whoever makes the first move is usually at a disadvantage, but Mendes wasn't sweating it. He had official offers from Manchester United and Paris sitting on Dortmund's desk. Both had a buyout clause of €50 million. These days, there's a tactic in soccer called follow-up buying. Manchester United was the first to notice Mikel, impressed by his defensive skills at just 18. But Mourinho swooped in and took him to Stamford Bridge. Then Manchester United wanted Ballack, only for Chelsea to steal him too. Besides Mikel and Ballack, there were Benzema, David Silva, Robin, Duff, and Joe Cole. The list goes on. Basically, Chelsea would grab anyone Manchester United wanted. Eventually, Manchester United learned to play the same game, nabbing Sanchez and Fred from Manchester City. Manchester United's long slump was partly due to their terrible transfer strategy. Those two deals definitely weren't worth it, and later, Wan-Bissaka and Maguire's outrageous fees. Even when choosing between Lindelof and Van Dijk, Manchester United went for Lindelof, who played for Benfica, instead of Van Dijk, a proven Premier League player. The car pulled up smoothly at the training ground entrance. As they say, the early bird gets the worm, and a bunch of sports reporters were already there. When they saw Ye Chen, they swarmed him immediately. "Can we get a quick interview?" "Sure, but only 3 questions." Ye Chen rolled down the window and nodded. "Are you going to sign a new contract with Dortmund?" "We're here to talk about it." "Would you consider moving to Manchester United or Paris?" "I'm still discussing it with my agent." "Does setting a Guinness World Record make you a world-class player?" Ye Chen looked genuinely surprised. "Of course not. I can't even get a starting spot on my team. How could I be world-class?" After answering the 3 questions, he rolled up the window and drove off, but those few answers were enough for them to churn out a bunch of articles. After all, they make their living with a pen, and any angle is a story. First day back, Ye Chen returns to Team Dortmund and Ye Chen contract renewal countdown. Loyalty prevails. Ye Chen promises to renew with Ye Chen considers Manchester United or Paris, but contract terms are key. Ye Chen, "I'm not world-class, just a scrub who can't even start." The car rolled into Dortmund's training base and parked. Mendes turned to Ye Chen as they got out. "You like the car?" "Yeah, I love Volvos." Mendes smiled. "Looks like Lena knows you pretty well. Consider this my meeting gift. And from now on, no running between your place and the club. Take the car." "Okay, got it." Ye Chen nodded. "But I don't have a license yet." In the UK and Germany, you can get your license at 17, but Ye Chen never bothered. Plus, UK cars are right-hand drive and drive on the left, which would mess with his head. Luckily, Germany is the same as China, so Ye Chen could take some time to get his license. "I'll set it up for you. You can have a driver in the meantime." "Isn't a driver expensive?" Ye Chen asked. Mendes laughed. "Don't worry about it, it's on me." "Thanks, boss." No, you're my boss." Mendes corrected him immediately. "Just remember, try to keep quiet in the meeting." "Got it." Ye Chen made a zipping his lips motion. He wanted to see how Mendes negotiated. Honestly, Ye Chen was ready to stay no matter what. It had a lot to do with the first contract Dortmund offered him. Klopp's first offer was incredibly genuine, and the only potential snag was the €50 million buyout clause, which was way too low. Otherwise, this whole contract negotiation would be pointless, and now, the big clubs are getting more and more cutthroat. They're buying younger and younger players for higher and higher prices, but in the last few games, Ye Chen had proven his value to be way more than €50 million. Chapter 94 Manchester United's door is always open to ye. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ferguson and David Gill flew straight back to Manchester. As soon as they exited the airport, reporters swarmed them, cameras flashing. Mr. Ferguson, are you personally pursuing Ye Chen this time? Can't say at the moment, Ferguson replied tersely. You initially said that Manchester United's door would always be closed to ye. Why the trip to Germany to sign him now? David Gill scowled, his voice booming. Which paper are you with? The reporter quickly backed away, disappearing into the crowd, but Ferguson just chuckled. I did say that, but I'd rather admit I was wrong than miss out on a talent like ye. Let me say this, from today on, Manchester United's door is always open to ye. The assembled reporters gasped. Was ye really that good? Ye Chen's rise had been so meteoric that many reporters weren't that familiar with him. They just knew he'd become a soccer sensation out of nowhere, but with typical British pride, they didn't pay much attention to news coming out of the Bundesliga. After all, England was the center of the soccer universe. Ferguson seemed pleased with the reaction. Ye promised us he'll give it serious thought. We'll announce any official news on our website later. And yes, we offered ye a very generous package, including giving him the number 7 jersey down the road, boom. Ferguson's words hit the reporters like a bombshell. Ferguson, of course, didn't elaborate. Manchester United had put their best foot forward, but unfortunately, Ye Chen was still rejecting them. Meanwhile, Ye Chen, back in Dortmund, was blissfully unaware of this drama. He was currently in negotiations with Watzke and Klopp about a contract extension. Ye Chen thought he understood contracts, but watching Mendes in action showed him how naive he was. The first issue was team role. Ye Chen's previous contract was for a promising breakthrough player. Contracts at that level topped out at €25,000 a week, but Mendes was aiming for a regular starter contract this time. Only bona fide star players and key players ranked higher than useful member contracts. Even though Ye Chen was only 17, he'd proven he was starter material. Besides the weekly salary, the new contract would include a loyalty bonus. On top of that, there was Mendes's commission, and a bunch of other perks Ye Chen had agreed on beforehand. If everything went smoothly, Ye Chen would soon be collecting his first Bundesliga Player of the Month and Bundesliga Young Player of the Month. Bonuses, after all, Ye Chen's consecutive hat tricks had pretty much made those awards a foregone conclusion. Mendes focused on future demands. He wanted a 10% annual increase written into the contract, but Ye Chen had something else in mind. Boss, how about we go big or go home? Lay it on me. If I win the German Cup, my contract goes up 15%, if I win the Bundesliga, it goes up 20%, and if I can win the Champions League, it goes up 25%. And what if the team wins nothing? Then there's no raise. Ye Chen said bluntly. No championships, no bonus. Alright, you said it. What if we win both the DFB Pokal and the Bundesliga? Okay, forget percentages. We'll start at 10%, and each trophy adds another 5%. Klopp declared confidently, figuring that if they were winning championships, they wouldn't be pinching pennies. Deal. Mendes just buried his face in his hands. Hadn't he told this kid to stop talking? What if Dortmund didn't win anything? Negotiations continued all morning because Ye Chen was so young. Mendes's commission wasn't especially high, €1.30 million. Ye Chen's base salary went from €100 to €200, and his annual salary jumped from €500,000 to €1 million. Most importantly, the buyout clause increased from €50 million to €88.88 million. Of course, this wasn't an era when clubs would drop €96 million on some random kid. Remember, Real Madrid bought Ronaldo for only €80 million. Wait, why was anyone even mentioning potential sales? The highest salary at Dortmund at this stage belonged to 32-year-old Captain Kell, who earned €50,000 a week. In addition to playing, he helped Klopp manage the locker room and was a team leader. Ye Chen's weekly salary was now on par with Shinji Kagawa, Hummels, and Lewandowski. Those were the new deals they signed after winning the Bundesliga. Dortmund was clearly showing a lot of faith in Ye Chen. Ye Chen returned the favor, and the negotiations proceeded smoothly. After the morning session, at 2 p.m. local time in Germany, Dortmund held a press conference to announce the contract extension. This put an end to the Ye Chen transfer saga that had been dominating headlines. Dortmund star Ye Chen extends contract, buyout clause jumps to €80 million. Renewing before the ink is even dry. Ye Chen makes Bundesliga history. Dortmund's new striker Ye Chen successfully renews. Is the Bundesliga ready? Ye Chen, I love everything about Dortmund, I want to write my own story here. News of the press conference spread worldwide. Dortmund fans were ecstatic. I love ye even more now. What do I do? Ye, why don't you dump Lena and I'll give you a baby? Who said ye needs to dump his girl to have kids? I can do it without him dumping anyone. I wish he'd volley me into oblivion. It was a case of celebration in Dortmund and misery in Manchester. Manchester United fans were gutted. They've got to be kidding me. The gaffer practically begged him, offered to pay the release clause and give him number 7, and he still said no. Don't even say it. I'm done with Ye Chen. Ungrateful brat. Give back our man you kid. Yeah, Manchester United fans were hurting. Ever since Ferguson's Dortmund trip, they've been picturing Ye Chen in a red shirt. The video of Ye Chen playing for Manchester United's U18s in the double red club match resurfaced and went viral. Fans were calling Ye Chen the next Beckham. Even Beckham himself weighed in, saying, Ye is an incredible player, and I'd love to see him back at Manchester United. But the transfer saga was over, and Dortmund had the last laugh. Ye Chen didn't leave with his agent after renewing his contract. Instead, he went straight to practice. When he left the Dortmund training facility that evening, a large group of diehard fans were waiting for him outside. Ye Chen stopped to sign autographs and take photos with the fans, who were incredibly considerate. They knew Ye Chen had been training hard all day, so they quickly cleared a path for him to go home. Back at his place, he collapsed on the sofa. Reflecting on the day, Ye Chen finally understood why clubs were willing to deal with agents. Even though it meant sharing a cut of the deal, they made the negotiation process run smoother. He still needed to claim the reward for the Dresden game. Ding! Congratulations to the host for exceeding expectations. You led the team to 5 consecutive victories and won the first-place prize. You are rewarded with an extra diamond treasure chest. Whoa, Ye Chen gasped. The diamond treasure chest he'd been dreaming about was finally here again. Chapter 95 New SS Level Skills, Terrible Ascension. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing the diamond-studded treasure chest shimmering in his mind, Ye Chen didn't rush. He reined in his excitement, hopped into the shower, and then settled down on his bed. System, crack open that diamond treasure chest for me. He took a deep breath and addressed the system. Ding! Congratulations, host. You've unlocked the SS level skill, Beckham's full moon scimitar. Ye Chen's eyes went wide. No way. Seriously? The real deal? His mind flooded with the technical nuances and application of the moon scimitar. Images of Beckham curling free kicks danced behind his eyelids. Honestly, if there's one soccer player who's constantly underestimated, it's Beckham. Sometimes being handsome is a curse. People mistakenly assume his success is all about looks. Hey, Ye Chen knew that struggle. Back when he joined Manchester United, fans whined, he's just a pretty boy. But those complaints were dying down. Now, besides being handsome, he was a scoring machine. Volleys. Curling shots from the edge of the box. Midfield lobs. Ye Chen had a highlight reel of goals, and now, beyond just fluke elevator shots, he possessed a real free kick skill, Beckham's full moon scimitar. Truth be told, Ye Chen had already hit the moon scimitar once, that corner kick that curved directly into the net. But he knew that wasn't his actual skill. It was just a flash of brilliance thanks to the long shot mandatory card. Like that 35-meter elevator shot, good luck getting him to repeat that. But this was different. This was for real, heart pounding, hands trembling. Ye Chen pulled up his attribute panel. Sure enough, the SS level skill had triggered some serious stat boosts. The full moon scimitar bumped up 3 attributes, scratch that. It completely transformed them. The most obvious change was the arc. It leaped from 70 to a blazing 85. The numbers blazed orange. The second improvement was in set pieces, with boosts to his shooting power and accuracy. Ye Chen set pieces had reached 75, but now, boom, 85. Double 85s. That was a terrifying level of skill, but besides those two, there was a third attribute with an upward arrow beside it, aerial passes. Crosses, basically. Ye Chen's aerial cross was 69. Now it was 80. Wow, an SS level skill, a total of 36 attribute points pumped into his game. System, aren't you worried I'll become unstoppable? Ye Chen asked. Host's rewards are earned through hard work. P.S. The system is more worried you won't be unstoppable enough. Ye Chen rolled his eyes. This system was a jerk. Then he realized, if you're so worried I'm not unstoppable enough, why not toss me some more attribute points? Beckham's full moon scimitar is only at 85 arc. Give me 99. Reminder, SS level skills provide the minimum attribute values necessary to activate the skill, not to perfectly represent it. If the host wants to perfectly execute Beckham's full moon scimitar, or even surpass Beckham, he still needs to put in the work. Surpass Beckham? Are you kidding? He's the free kick king. The player with the most free kick goals is Juninho Pernambucano, with 77. Even Pelé is 7 goals behind him. So Juninho is the free kick king? I didn't say that. What about Beckham? The host can Google it. Fine, ignore me. Ye Chen pulled out his phone. Beckham was 5th, behind Juninho, Pelé, Ronaldinho, and Legrodigli. Ronaldinho and Legrodigli were tied at 66, while Beckham had 65, trailing Beckham were Maradona and Zico, tied for 6th, former Southampton and Everton coach Koeman in 8th with 60, and Carioca and Chilivert, the goalkeeper, with 59. No Messi or Ronaldo. Ronaldo's knuckleball and Messi's dipping free kicks were burned into his memory, and legends like Pirlo and Del Piero, none of these masters made the list. Wow, if I start now, could I actually surpass Juninho? System, how many free kicks have I scored so far? 2. Only 2. Ye Chen raised his eyebrows. That meant he needed 75 more. Never mind. Forget I asked. Better to not even think about it. Ding. Long-term mission, score 78 free kicks in 10 years. Successful completion results in 3 randomly selected attributes being maxed out. Whoa, system, that's cold-blooded. But at least there's no penalty, it's just icing on the cake. Ye Chen, still lying on the bed, kicked his feet in the air. Time to show Klopp what he could do. That was the only way to snag those free kick opportunities. Well, time to sleep. He'd find a chance to show off tomorrow. The next morning, Ye Chen hopped into his Volvo and headed to the training grounds. Isn't that Mitch? He's early. Ye Chen spotted Miglak pulling in as he got out of his car. Miglak had been catching some heat after their last German Cup match. The other team had only 1 shot on goal, and a picture of Miglak squatting at the center circle watching the game had gone viral, captioned. Dortmund's goalie squats in the center circle to watch his teammates attack. Miglak nodded. I want to work on my diving speed. Ye Chen's eyes lit up. What a coincidence. I'm practicing free kicks. Want to team up? But free kicks don't really help your diving speed. Then we'll start with penalty kicks. How's that? Ye Chen compromised. Deal. Miglak grinned. Thanks. I could use the practice. No problem. I just happen to be working on penalties too. Ye Chen smiled. Helping others was a traditional value, penalties were his favorite. How about 10 to start? Ye Chen asked after they'd warmed up. Okay. Miglak agreed. I don't know how to take it easy on people. I swear I can stop 5 out of 10. Prove it. All right. Oh. Whiff. Boom. 10 minutes later, Miglak was sprawled on the ground, panting. No more. I'm done. Giving up already? Ye Chen raised his eyebrows. Didn't you promise to block 5 on me? Your fakes are too convincing. I can't read you at all. Miglak said, exasperated. It's not just me, even the vice-captain can't do it. Who said that? Weidenfeller's voice cut in. Ye Chen grinned. Next victim, please. Chapter 96. Ye Chen's new nickname, 5 Boy, number 1 worthy Asian player. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A penalty kick is a duel between the striker and the goalie. Each tries to anticipate the other's move by analyzing everything, eye movements, posture, the approach, and the final shooting action, all to make the right call. Weidenfeller wasn't the flashiest German goalie, especially when it came to aerial control. That was a constant point of criticism, but he was a beast when it came to penalties. He didn't know it then, but after he left Dortmund, their goalkeepers wouldn't save a single penalty for 8 years, but that was the future. Right now, he was decked out and ready to defend the net. Players started showing up. Klopp and his assistant, But, were there too, plus, coaches from a few other teams came to watch. The showdown between Ye Chen and Weidenfeller was attracting a crowd. Go get, vice-captain. Roman, show ye who's boss. Let's go. This is gonna be good. Teammates were already hyped. Klopp, watching from afar, asked But, how many do you think he is gonna miss? He'll choke on at least 2 out of 5. Roman's a master at reading shooters, better than Neuer. But said, confident. Goalie coach Matthias chimed in. Roman's had 5 shutouts this season, and his 80% save rate is among the best in the Bundesliga. He's even got a higher score than Neuer right now. This is his territory. Klopp just grinned. We'll see. While they were talking, Ye Chen took a running start and blasted a volley. Weidenfeller guessed right, but the ball was just too damn fast. No chance. Again. Weidenfeller said, still confident. He thought he was starting to read Ye Chen's game. Ye Chen nodded and placed the ball back on the penalty spot. Do it. Gotze yelled. Ye Chen took a deep breath and fired another volley. At the last second, just as Weidenfeller dove, Ye Chen gently pushed the ball with the inside of his foot, sending it right down the middle. Damn it. Weidenfeller slammed his fist on the ground. All right, kid, not bad. Beginner's luck. Ye Chen grinned. Every kick was a challenge. Weidenfeller was trying to figure him out, and he was trying to throw him off balance. Then came the third shot, the fourth, the fifth. Weidenfeller started getting frustrated. Matthias, watching from the sidelines, was stunned. Roman seemed to be helpless against Ye. But was starting to sweat. Each goal Ye Chen scored felt like a slap in the face. But Klopp, as head coach, ignored Buvac's embarrassment. He was getting excited. This kid, he might be a natural penalty shooter. Right now, Lewandowski was the team's go-to guy for penalties, then Perisic, and then Kagawa, but after seeing this, it might be time for a shake-up. Plus, Ye Chen had nailed all 3 penalties before, including that sweet Panenka, that took serious composure and skill. Having a guy like that take penalties was practically a guaranteed goal, especially in important games. But taking away penalty duties from someone else could cause problems. Luckily, Lewandowski was just getting back into form this season, and Klopp had plenty of clout in the team, so giving Ye Chen a shot at penalties wasn't out of the question. Of course, he'd need an opportunity, like Lewandowski missing a penalty. Otherwise, it wouldn't look right. Ye Chen had no clue what Klopp was thinking. He was just showing off his penalty skills a little, but what he really wanted to show off was his bending free kick, but that would have to wait. Hey, Ye, throw me a bone, huh? Miss one on purpose and save me some face? Weidenfeller said, getting up from the ground, pretending to be annoyed. He was just kidding, of course. Ye Chen quickly looked apologetic. Next time, for sure, next time. Next time, huh? Not if I can help it. Weidenfeller scoffed. How about we try a free kick? You think you can score on me with a free kick? Weidenfeller raised an eyebrow. Worth a shot. Ye Chen said with a smile, but as Ye Chen stood over the ball, he suddenly got serious. Was he showing off too much at once? He hesitated for a moment, and decided to hold back his bending free kick for another time. Looking at Weidenfeller in the goal, Ye Chen took a deep breath. He recalled the feeling and technique he had when he kicked elevator free kicks. Here we go. Ye Chen touched the ball with the inside of his foot, using his calf to generate power, hitting the ball in the middle and near the bottom. The ball flew just past the dummy wall. It had an upward trajectory, but as it approached the goal, it suddenly dropped like a rock. Weidenfeller thought it was going out, but then he saw it plummeting and tried to block it, but the ball was too fast. It zipped right in. Ye Chen stood there, stunned. My bad. I really didn't mean to score. Oh, but the other players started teasing him. Ye, you're ruthless. Yeah, if the vice-captain wasn't letting you win, you'd never have scored. Roman must have gone easy on you. That was an easy save. Ye Chen quickly nodded. Thanks, vice-captain. Weidenfeller just clicked his tongue. Letting him win? No way. That kid's free kick was just plain weird. Alright, everyone, focus up. Klopp yelled, blowing his whistle. Let's get into a tactical lesson and break down Stuttgart. The game against Stuttgart was in 2 days. The team would finalize the starting lineup and practice their game plan today. Meanwhile, on the other side, Stuttgart was doing the same thing. Coach Bruno Labbadia started by predicting Dortmund's starting lineup, slotting Lewandowski into the striker position. Dortmund's starting lineup wasn't hard to guess. They were pretty consistent, except for the wild card that was Ye Chen. And since Ye Chen had played in the German Cup last round, there was a good chance he wouldn't start this game. Dortmund's style was a 4-3-3 formation, with a solid defense in the middle and fast wingers leading the attack. Their front three were Kakao, Shinji Okazaki, and Hanek. Offense wasn't the problem. They always practiced offensive tactics, but they needed to figure out the defense. What do we do if that €50 million kid comes on? Assistant coach Erden Cesar asked. Yeah, Ye Chen had picked up another nickname in the Bundesliga, the €50 million kid. After all, Manchester United and PSG were supposedly willing to pay that much for him. But Labbadia didn't smile. He just went silent. Defensive coach Thomas said, Ye is really fast. It'd be dangerous to give him space. I suggest we have someone mark him specifically. Labbadia nodded. Okay, but who? Kuzmanovic is out. He needs to keep Kagawa in check. Then Tash has to be the one, Cecil said with a frown. What about zonal marking? Labbadia asked, thinking maybe the fullbacks could handle it. In that case, we can't go with Boca. We'd need Molinaro, who's a stronger defender. Cecil said, rationally. Thomas couldn't help but complain, this Ye kid is a pain in the ass. Ye Chen's stellar performances in the Bundesliga had made him a known quantity to the other coaches, and they were now preparing targeted arrangements just for him. In the first 5 games, it was their ignorance of Ye or bad information that had allowed him to shine, but those days were over. Because Ye Chen broke the Guinness World Record, even more people knew about him, and the coaches were taking him seriously. They all knew Ye Chen was fast with a great shot, and the best way to deal with a player like that was to foul him early and keep him out of the dangerous areas, just like other teams did with Neymar. Chapter 97 Ye Chen's domineering response. How many green onions does Shinji Okazaki count? You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the Bundesliga, with the 11th round fast approaching, every team is grinding hard. Reporters are camped outside Dortmund's training grounds, but Klopp's got them beat. He planted trees all around to keep their training under wraps, blocking any sneaky photos from the outside. Dortmund sitting pretty in second place, just 3 points behind Bayern, so naturally everyone's hyped for their upcoming game against Stuttgart. And Stuttgart ain't no joke, they're 5th, only 2 points behind Dortmund. If Stuttgart wins, they'll knock Dortmund right off their pedestal. Reporters are cornering Stuttgart players, firing off questions. They caught 19-year-old Antonio Rudiger. As a rising star, what'll happen when you meet Ye? Rudiger laughed. If the coach puts me in, I'll kick his balls for sure. This Rudiger is the same guy who'll join Real Madrid as a free agent years later, but right now he's just getting his feet wet. He's come off the bench a few times, but he hasn't started yet. His comments didn't make waves, but Shinji Okazaki's did. Ye's just a sub who gets a lucky start in a cup game. I'm Stuttgart's main striker. Don't even compare us. Shinji Okazaki ditched the pleasantries and made it clear he thought it was insulting to be compared to Ye Chen. Usually, the Japanese players in the Bundesliga will grab dinner or something when they have time. After Tomoki Makino got canned, they had a farewell dinner. Okazaki Shinji and Makino Tomoki are tight, so naturally, he's sticking up for his buddy. He even got into it with Kagawa Shinji over it. During that dinner, Kagawa Shinji actually defended Ye Chen, saying something like, "Makino Tomoki messed up too." Okazaki Shinji was not having it. But Manchester United is ready to drop €50 million for Ye's release clause. That's because Manchester United wants to tap into the Chinese market. Sure, he's got talent, but the media's blowing it way out of proportion. Shinji Okazaki said coolly. We've had a tactical meeting and have him scouted perfectly. If he even thinks about playing, we'll give him a defense he won't forget. So, who do you think will win this Asian showdown? Dortmund doesn't stand a chance at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Shinji Okazaki shot back. We're just as good as them. Anything you want to say to Ye? Shinji Okazaki glared at the camera. Listen up, Ye Chen. Doesn't matter how many goals you scored before, I'm going to score more than you head to head. I'm the number one Asian striker in the Bundesliga. Why all the hostility toward Ye? Kagawa gets along with him fine. Because he's a traitor. And I'm here for justice. I'm going to avenge Makino Tomoki and show him what losing feels like. Okazaki Shinji said, clenching his fist. The Chinese national football team is a team you play all the time. Any thoughts? Chinese soccer. They're terrible. Gotta give it to these German sports reporters. They do their homework before asking questions. Normally, players would dodge these kinds of questions, but Shinji Okazaki clearly has a major beef with Ye Chen, and Tomoki Makino, who got the boot thanks to Ye Chen, is Shinji Okazaki's buddy. Things just got interesting since Ye Chen showed up. The Bundesliga's ratings in China have skyrocketed, and the league officials are finally paying attention to the massive Chinese market. The news that Ye Chen sold more jerseys overnight than anyone was like rocket fuel to the Bundesliga's marketing team, and it's not just in China. The most popular jersey in Dortmund right now is the one with Ye Chen's name and number 16 on the back. His performance has been insane. The Bundesliga, smelling blood in the water, is rolling out a full marketing blitz. First thing they did was change the Bundesliga game times. This Dortmund away game against Stuttgart, which was originally scheduled for 2 a.m. in China, is now set for 9:45 p.m., that's 3:45 in the afternoon in Germany, when the sun's blazing. Good thing November's around the corner, so it won't be as hot. Changing the game time is just the start. They're planning to set up a dedicated Bundesliga China propaganda department and told the media to dig up everything they can on Ye Chen. It's simple, Ye Chen news gets double the traffic in China. After the interview dropped, the news blew up in China. Thanks to Ye Chen, a ton of domestic sports newspapers have reporters stationed in Dortmund, and Shinji Okazaki's trash talk is going viral. Who is this Okazaki Shinji guy? So cocky. He's a Japanese national team player. He was their main striker when they won the Asian Cup. Scored a hat-trick in that match against Saudi Arabia. At the Asian Cup this January, Japan took home the trophy, while the Chinese men's football team got bounced out of the group stage with 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 loss. This dude who's only scored 3 goals in the league is talking smack to a guy with 12. Is he brain dead? Shinji Okazaki's a decent striker, but he's not in Ye Chen's league. Can't wait for Ye Chen to shut him up. Does he really think he can challenge Ye Chen? He's not worthy to carry Ye Chen's jockstrap. Hold your horses, it's not a sure thing Ye Chen will win. Let's hear what Ye Chen has to say. Ye Chen, kick his butt. Back in Germany, at Dortmund's training base, Ye Chen just finished training and was chilling on the grass. Kagawa walked over and handed him a bottle of water. Ye, your fitness is getting back on track. Looks like you'll be good to come off the bench tomorrow. Shinji Kagawa said with a smile. I could start if I had to, but it looks like the boss trusts Lewandowski more. Don't worry, Lewandowski isn't going to play the whole game. Kagawa said, grinning. Why? Right after we play Stuttgart, we've got Olympiacos at home. We absolutely need to win that Champions League game. Shinji Kagawa said seriously. Dortmund's played 3 Champions League games so far, with 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 loss, putting them third in their group. Arsenal's in first with 2 wins and 1 draw, giving them 7 points, Marseille's in second with 2 wins and 1 loss, Dortmund's third with 4 points. If they can't beat the relatively weak Olympiacos in the next game, their chances of qualifying will be slim. Compared to the Champions League, losing or drawing a league game isn't a huge deal. Ye Chen got it. That makes sense. He understood. He just played a full DFB Cup match and only had 3 days to rest. Klopp would want to play other guys and give Ye Chen a break. Ye Chen's only 17, so they have to be careful with him. Too many games could burn him out. Ye, have you seen the news? What news? About Okazaki saying he wants to go head-to-head with you to see who scores more goals. Whatever. Ye Chen shrugged. Does he even have the right to challenge me? Chapter 98 Warm-up before the game and conflict, Ye Chen's newsletter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In fact, if you follow the Premier League, you know Shinji Okazaki. The guy won a Premier League title with Leicester City, and he was a key player. Vardy gets all the hype, but Okazaki's work as a supporting striker can't be overlooked. He's a hard-working, team-first forward, always hustling, with top-notch defensive skills. He's great at making runs from deep and has a knack for being in the right place in the box. Coach Ranieri raved about him. Plus, he's only the 3rd Asian player, after Park Ji-sung and Kagawa, to win the Premier League, a huge accomplishment in Japanese soccer history. But he's also known for something else. He supposedly told another Japanese player, Gongoe, when visiting his house, that his wife looked like she'd put on some weight. Gongoe told the story himself, calling Okazaki an awesome teammate. Okazaki might have achieved every Asian player's dream and scored the most Premier League goals for a Japanese player, but Ye Chen felt they weren't even in the same ballpark. There are all kinds of forwards, all-around guys, poachers, technically gifted players, speedsters, target men, and supporting strikers. Even in Guardiola strikerless formations, there are false nines. Okazaki, a supporting striker, scored against him. Was he kidding? Besides, they were rivals. 81 ZW. Ye Chen felt Okazaki didn't deserve the comparison. Not just anybody gets to be compared to me. Shinji Kagawa looked at Ye Chen and laughed. You really are the most talented player in Asia. Okazaki really can't compare. Ye Chen was surprised. You're not mad that I'm talking trash about one of your national teammates? Why would I be? Okazaki's good, but he's just okay, even in Asia, let alone the Bundesliga or the world. You've got the potential to be a world-class striker. Getting angry would be a waste of time. Better to train hard, push each other, and both become world-class. Shinji Kagawa said earnestly, pausing before adding, Ye, I still think you should prove it to him and show him the gap between you. Huh. At Tomoki Makino's farewell party for the national team, Shinji Okazaki was pretty rude to you. I stuck up for you, and he called me a traitor, but I was just being honest. What did you say? Ye Chen asked, intrigued. I said you have world-class talent and could start in the Bundesliga, but he brushed it off, saying you're just a cup game sub. Shinji Kagawa said seriously, this Kagawa guy is pretty straightforward. I guess I can respect that. Honestly, if I went to a party like that, I'd probably say Kagawa wasn't even as good as Hao Junmin, like Xiao Jiai said in an interview. Zhang Shizhe isn't as physically strong as De Bruyne, but he's quick. I think his skills are better. But Shinji Kagawa had his back, and he was actually kind of touched. Ye Chen sighed, he's got a point. The coach trusts Luwind more for the big games. I'm working my butt off to get a starting spot. It's only a matter of time, Shinji Kagawa said confidently. By the way, this whole thing's blown up online. You should check it out when you get a chance. Why's it online? Ye Chen frowned. The coach has a plan, and they're looking at the big picture. Not just one game, but a whole month or two. When Klopp told him he'd start in the German Cup, Ye Chen knew there was no way he'd start against Stuttgart. The games were too close together, and Klopp didn't know Ye Chen's fitness was through the roof. Even though the team's fitness coach could give immediate feedback, Klopp wasn't changing his lineup. There's still a big difference between Ye Chen and Luwind. Lewandowski can play that target man role up front, but Ye Chen relies more on speed. He's still too skinny physically, but building strength takes time and training. That's why a player's peak is around 23, that's when your body's at its best. But a lot of players start to decline after 30 because they aren't as physically fit. Ye Chen wants to play until he's at least 35, so at 19, he's already planning his diet and training. He admires Ronaldo the most. Who would have thought a 37-year-old could score 24 goals in the Premier League? Of course, that all happened in a parallel world. Now that Ye Chen's here, things will be different. For starters, the Ballon d'Or won't just be a two-horse race between Messi and Ronaldo. Ye Chen grabbed his phone and quickly found the interview. As he read, his expression changed. What is this guy even saying? Sure, the national team isn't great, but just because the national team isn't great doesn't mean Chinese players suck. Of course, actions speak louder than words. Shinji Okazaki, huh? I'll kick you into next Tuesday. Ye Chen shut off his phone and got back to training. A player like Shinji Okazaki is just a speed bump on his way to the top. Ye Chen's real competition is elsewhere. August 10, 2029, 2:02 p.m. Dortmund's bus pulled up at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. The players stepped off to cheers from the fans who were waiting. The players signed autographs and took pictures with the fans. Ye Chen liked this atmosphere. The players didn't act like they were better than anyone. He also noticed he had way more female fans now. Oh, this darn charm. When I make it big, nobody will think I'm just riding on my looks, right? After getting to the stadium, the players went out to warm up. The starters and the subs just did some light jogging, nothing too serious. The Stuttgart players were also on the field, both teams sharing half of the pitch. As Ye Chen was jogging with the ball, a soccer ball suddenly came flying over from the other side. Luckily, Ye Chen reacted fast and dodged it. Too bad, I missed. Of course, it was Shinji Okazaki who said it. Ye Chen's expression hardened. He narrowed his eyes and said, "All right, if you want a piece of me, you're gonna get it. You think I'm some kind of pushover?" Oh, Ye Chen locked his ankle, swung his leg, and fired a shot. Chapter 99. Isn't this a clear way to embarrass the Chinese people abroad? You are listening at novelfull.audio. But Ye Chen's response was lightning fast, close range, maximum force. Okazaki never expected Ye Chen to retaliate like that. Most people see the Chinese as habitually reserved, especially in situations like this, where they'd usually try to be the bigger person. Oof, like a bullet, the ball slammed directly into Okazaki's gut. A jolt of sharp pain shot through him, his legs buckled, and he crumpled to the ground. Fans saw it all. Some even caught it on video. Gasps rippled through the crowd as everyone stared at the two players. The Stuttgart players swarmed in around their fallen teammate. What's your problem, kicking him like that? Just because you're a big name doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. Is that how people from China behave? Leading the charge was Kuzmanovic, the Serbian international in the number 8 jersey, Okazaki's best friend on the team. He rushed in to defend him, but Dortmund wasn't backing down, especially Captain Kyle, who charged in yelling. What do you think you're doing? Trying to gang up on my teammate? You'll have to go through me first. You trying to mess with Ye? You got a death wish. Gotze, Gundogan, and Perisic were the fastest, planting themselves in front of Ye Chen, protecting him from the onslaught. The two sides were face to face, but no one threw a punch. They were pros, after all, and knew the consequences of fighting. Instead, players from both teams moved to separate Okazaki and Ye Chen. Knock it off, all of you. Stuttgart's coach, Labadia, stormed onto the field. What's going on? Coach, I saw Ye kick Okazaki in the stomach with the ball. Kakao, their forward, yelled. Kuzmanovic chimed in angrily. Ye kicked first. I saw it. Kyle turned to Ye Chen. Ye, what happened? Ye Chen pointed to the ball a few feet away, calmly explaining, I was warming up, and Okazaki kicked the ball at me first, but I dodged it. Kyle's eyes narrowed, and he glared at Okazaki, who was hiding behind his teammates. Okazaki, did you start this? Shielded by his team, Okazaki smirked, feeling smug. This was the Mercedes-Benz Arena, not Westfalen. He was on his turf, and Ye Chen was going to learn a lesson. Kyle's question turned everyone's attention to Okazaki, who had to explain. I just put a little too much power into it, and the ball went toward Ye. If I really wanted to hit him, don't you think I could have? It was a plausible explanation. They were all pros, and it would be easy to nail someone with a ball if you really wanted to. Really? Ye Chen sneered. He was such a slimy character. Kyle's expression hardened. Intentional or not, you aimed the ball at Ye, so you're the one to blame. You started this. Don't think you can run wild just because you're on your home field. We don't back down. Why was Kyle the team's highest paid player? He stepped up when it mattered. Stuttgart's coach, Labadia, understood what was happening. Break it up, everyone. There are fans watching. You want to embarrass yourselves? Coach, Ye really kicked Okazaki. He needs to apologize. Kuzmanovic insisted. Yeah, Okazaki went down hard. Kakao added, they were trying to rewrite the story. It was like Ye Chen seeing a guy harassing a girl, stepping in to stop him, and then getting attacked by the harasser, who then demanded an apology. You're all idiots. Ye Chen muttered under his breath in Chinese. That's enough. Break it up. Labadia barked. Hold on. Klopp ran onto the field. Did I hear someone's bullying us? Ye was Klopp's prized player. He was not to be touched. Jürgen, it was just a misunderstanding. I was taking care of it. Labadia said with a forced smile. Klopp glared. Bruno, is this how you treat guests? We come here to play, and you bully us? Standing next to Klopp was Kagawa. He'd been watching the whole thing unfold, and he'd seen everything. As Okazaki's teammate and Ye Chen's friend, he was in a tough spot, but when he saw Labadia step onto the field, he dragged Klopp out of the locker room. This was a job for the head coach. Ye Chen noticed Kagawa and thought to himself that he'd gone to get backup. Jürgen, I've got the story straight. Okazaki accidentally kicked the ball at Ye, and Ye kicked it back. Let's just drop it. Drop it? Okazaki apologizes to Ye, or this doesn't end. Klopp said, his eyes fixed on Okazaki. Okazaki was shocked. Japanese people don't apologize to Chinese people. Klopp gritted his teeth. Fine, Bruno, you heard it yourself. He's being unreasonable and disrespectful. Fine, let's do it the hard way. Labadia looked uncomfortable, but couldn't back down entirely. In that case, we'll see you on the field. He turned and walked away, followed by the Stuttgart players. Before the game even started, the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Klopp went to Ye Chen's side. Ye, are you okay? Coach, I'm fine. Klopp patted him on the shoulder. Let's go back to the locker room. It was an away game, and they had a Champions League match in a couple of days. The most important thing was to avoid injuries, but now things had changed. Tear them apart. Klopp shouted in the locker room, his voice tight. Let them see what happens when they mess with Ye. Wang Bo, standing on the sidelines, was practically shaking with excitement. Ye Chen was a piece of work. All he had to do was warm up. but he just had to kick someone with a ball. And he had recorded the whole thing. Without wasting a second, he sent the clip. He'd leave the rest to his cousin. In a huge office in China, Yang Kailai was enjoying the finest Ye Chen Longjing tea. His phone vibrated, and he saw it was a message from his cousin, who was in Germany on business. He opened the video and his eyes lit up. Sure enough, the guy was a loose cannon. Here was a clear example of Chinese people embarrassing themselves abroad. Chapter 100. If you want to destroy it, you must first make it crazy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The news exploded. Ye Chen, the player, brutally attacked Shinji Okazaki with a soccer ball. Stuttgart vs Dortmund pre-game brawl, questions raised about Chinese player Ye Chen's conduct. Is this how Chinese people behave? Video surfaces of Ye Chen's pre-game assault. Frustration. Ye Chen allegedly takes out anger on Shinji Okazaki due to bench warmer status. Ye Chen's kicking spree, go back home and stop embarrassing us. In an instant, the internet was flooded with these headlines. At first, people thought it was just clickbait, but the video footage silenced everyone. Some were quick to jump on the bandwagon, especially those unfamiliar with Ye Chen, who lumped him in with the national football team's underperformers. Can't play soccer, but sure knows how to kick someone. Come on back, don't disgrace us abroad. He's bringing shame to China. Is the Football Association really going to let players like this ruin Chinese soccer? Chinese soccer is tanking because of guys like him. If you can't win on the field, resort to violence. The Football Association should ban him for life. You guys get it? The Football Association can't ban him, just suspend him. Ye Chen doesn't care about the Football Association. He's already been suspended for 3 years. Just like the Football Association said, he's got a bad attitude. We don't need him back here messing with our team. The internet was ablaze with criticism aimed squarely at Ye Chen. However, a group of supporters emerged, refusing to believe the accusations and defending Ye Chen. They were quickly overwhelmed by the sheer number of detractors and what seemed like a coordinated campaign against him. This issue skyrocketed to the top of the trending topics, surpassing even a celebrity's late-night salon visit in popularity. Said celebrity was probably grateful to Ye Chen for stealing the spotlight, because normally, deflecting scandals required buying trending topics and hiring trolls, plus other kinds of nonsense to make the drama die down. Sometimes, they even had to shell out cash for dirt on other folks to protect their image. For the average internet user, any distraction would do. But Ye Chen's incident blew up immediately. Adding to the problem, many of Ye Chen's fans were glued to the TV, completely unaware of the online firestorm. At 3:30 a.m. local time in Germany, the match between Stuttgart and Dortmund kicked off. Ye Chen sat on the bench, oblivious to the turmoil back home. On the field, the tension was palpable from the start. Within the first 10 minutes, both teams had racked up 3 yellow cards each. The referee seemed baffled, but what could he do? By the 20-minute mark, the cumulative yellow card count had reached 10, with 10 players on the field already cautioned. Strangely, neither coach seemed inclined to intervene. Watching the chaos unfold, Ye Chen clenched his fists. You won't let me play? I'll show you what Chinese power really looks like. The game was explosive. The internet in China was just as volatile. The Football Association responded swiftly, with Chairman Liang Jijun issuing an official statement. Punishment for player Ye Chen's unprovoked attack abroad. Player Ye Chen injured Sakura Country player Shinji Okazaki during warm-ups before the Stuttgart vs Dortmund match, which has severely tarnished Chinese football's reputation. The penalties are as follows. Point 1. A fine of €10. 2. A public apology. 3. A 10-year ban from all levels of the national team. This decision is a warning to others. The announcement sent shockwaves across the internet. Then, an interview with Chairman Liang Jijun appeared online. Chairman Liang Jijun speaks out on Ye Chen. His conduct proves my concerns were valid. In the Sports Weekly interview, Yang Jijun stated that he had been monitoring Ye Chen since his arrival at Dortmund. While acknowledging Ye Chen's talent, he believed he hadn't yet reached world-class status. The 5 hat-tricks were indeed impressive, but Liang Jijun worried that Ye Chen might become arrogant and complacent. The current assault incident only confirmed his fears, Liang declared. Ye Chen has gone too far. He added that while the incident had damaged the reputation of Chinese football, it had also negatively impacted Sakura country. The fine was intended to force Ye Chen to recognize the gravity of his mistake. Liang Jijun's perspective clearly resonated. As the interview went viral, many previously uninformed netizens joined the fray. While the Football Association was often criticized, players who brought shame to China abroad were considered even worse. The Football Association even contacted Weibo officials to request Ye Chen's account be shut down. Relevant authorities can ban public figures with egregious records. Under the Football Association's pressure, Weibo disabled the comment and like features on Ye Chen's account, allowing him to post but subjecting his content to strict platform review. The Football Association seemed to have secured a major victory. By the time Ye Chen's fans could respond, it appeared that the situation was irreversible. However, this highlighted the importance of having a strong support team. Although Mendes was no longer in Germany, he had established Ye Chen's China-based studio to handle potential emergencies. Mendes, currently on vacation in Spain, received a message from Li Xinran. Li Xinran, the former Sports Weekly reporter who had interviewed Ye Chen, was now working in self-media. Free from the newspaper's constraints, she posted interviews with Ye Chen on her social media. Ye Chen had taken a look, but all they did was sing his praises. Remembering her past help, Ye Chen had offered her a job in China to work for him. The studio could use Ye Chen's Weibo account. Li Xinran wanted to address the situation immediately, but the shrewd Mendes simply advised her, "Hold your horses. To make it die, you must first let it go crazy." Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The clock read 21 minutes and 12 seconds. Stuttgart had a free kick in the attacking zone. Harnik quickly took the kick, finding Quest in the midfield. Quest then threaded a through ball to Kakao. Kakao, seeing Hummels slightly out of position, took a shot, but Hummels blocked it. The ball rebounded to Shinji Okazaki's feet. Okazaki wasted no time and fired a shot. Boom! The ball screamed toward the goal. Okazaki scored in the 22nd minute, giving the home side the lead, but then a controversial moment happened. After scoring, Okazaki didn't celebrate in the corner, he ran towards the bench. He mimed wiping his neck. In a clear message to the Dortmund bench, the Dortmund players leapt to their feet, incensed. But Klopp just told everyone to sit back down. Let them be arrogant. To make it perish, you must first let it go crazy.